In 2014, two 12-year-old girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin, Anisaa Weier and Morgan Geyser, stabbed their friend Payton Leutner multiple times in an attempt to appease a fictional internet meme. The stabbings shocked the world and raised questions about the dangers of the internet and the role that social media can play in promoting violence. In this case file, let's take a closer look into the Slender Man stabbings. Anisaa Weier was born on November 10, 2001. She was described as a quiet and shy girl who was often bullied. She had a history of mental illness, including anxiety and depression. Morgan Geyser was born on May 16, 2002. She too was often on her own and hardly had any friends. She also had a history of mental illness, including ADHD and ODD. Payton Leutner was born on the 10th of August 2002. She was someone who was described as a happy and carefree girl. She was not known to have any mental health problems. Initially, Payton befriended Morgan in the 4th grade after she saw her sitting alone one day in school. According to Payton, the pair took up like all best friends. They would often have sleepovers together and played together on the weekends. Morgan would even give Payton a sweet nickname, Bella. According to Morgan, Payton was her only friend for a very long time. 2 years later, now in 6th grade, Morgan would then meet Anisaa and become friends with her. They both also lived in the same apartment building. Also, according to Payton, it was after her friendship with Anisaa that everything would go downhill. Around that time, a meme had also taken the internet by storm. Or at least it was pretty in with a specific group of people on the internet. The Slender Man. Created by Eric Knudsen in 2009 on the Something Awful forum, the Slender Man is a fictional supernatural character that originated as a creepypasta internet meme. Thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless white head and face, wearing a black suit. His stories mainly featured him stalking, abducting, or traumatizing people, particularly children. His legend also included the belief that he had the power to control minds. In 2018, it even inspired a movie revolving around the infamous character. But the less we talk about that, the better. Coming back to the girls, specifically Anisaa and Morgan, they soon had become obsessed with the character. Even though Payton was scared of the stories about Slender Man, she still went along with it, as it was something Morgan liked, and being a good supportive friend, she wanted to be there for her. But Morgan's and Anisaa's obsession with Slender Man soon turned into paranoia, as they started to believe that Slender Man would be coming for them. They believed that Slender Man lived in Wisconsin himself, and that they had to find him someday. In May of 2014, on Morgan's 12th birthday, the girls had planned a slumber party. They first headed to a skating rink, where they spent hours. Later they went for some pizza, and then headed back to Morgan's home, where they played some video games and then went off to bed. The next morning, the girls went to the park for a walk. Once there, Anisaa then suggested they play a game of hide and seek in the woods. As they were playing their game, Anisaa asked Payton to lay down on the ground and to cover herself with leaves and sticks. Innocently, Payton agreed to it. Out of nowhere, Morgan then jumps onto Payton and starts to attack her with a kitchen knife. Payton was in shock, as she couldn't understand what was happening to her and why her friends all of a sudden were attacking her. She was stabbed a total of 19 times. Once they were done with the attack, both Morgan and Anisaa left saying that they'd be back with help, but they never returned. Despite getting stabbed multiple times, Payton got up and tried to get out of there. She came across a cyclist who saw her all bloodied and in immense pain. He called 911 soon after. They soon took Payton to the hospital and informed her parents. Now, as Payton was in the hospital, both Morgan and Anisaa were out there trying to find the Slender Man's whereabouts, as they wanted to join him and become his proxies. After almost 5 hours, they were caught by the police. During the course of the interrogation, both the girls seemed really unbothered by any of it. When asked about the entire incident, both girls were very forthcoming. Morgan especially was very calm and casual during the interrogation. Anisaa, on the other hand, was more concerned with the consequences that they'd have to face for their actions. In one interrogation video footage, you can see Morgan acting all weird and dancing at one point. During their trial, both the girls were tried as adults due to the calculated and heinous nature of the crime. Morgan was charged with attempted homicide in the first degree, and Anisaa was charged with attempted homicide in the second degree. In August of 2017, Anisaa pleaded guilty to being a party to attempted second-degree homicide. The jury would later find her not guilty due to her mental state, so instead, she was sentenced to 25 years to life in a state psychiatric institute, followed by a communal supervision until the age of 37. Though after only 4 years, in September of 2021, she was released under strict stipulations. She is required to live with her father until the end of her sentence. Morgan accepted a plea deal under which she would not go to trial and would be evaluated by psychiatrists to determine how long she should be placed in a mental hospital. She later pleaded guilty too, but like Anisaa, was found not guilty due to her mental health issues and was diagnosed with schizophrenia, from which her father also suffers. She was given the maximum sentence of 40 years to life in a mental health institution. Before her sentencing, her doctors pointed that she still suffers from hallucinations and psychotic symptoms in February of 2018. Morgan had been committed to the Winnebago Mental Health Institute and was the youngest patient there. As for Payton, it took quite some time for her to recover from this horrific incident. In an interview years later after the incident, she said that she had issues sleeping alone at night and also said that she had some serious trust issues and was finding it hard to make new friends. Despite it all, she's trying her best to move on in her life. Well, folks, that was the end of the case file. Hope you find the video interesting. If you've made it this far, I would genuinely appreciate it if you would give this video a like, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, as it would really help me. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and please be safe. Peace.